same tragedy more than a decade ago. It was actually back in 1999 that 12-year-old Joshua Smurphat died when investigators believe that the harness that was holding the 12-year-old popped open mid-ride and he dropped out.
Diving into darkness, the Drop Zone Stunt Tower tragedy of Joshua Smurphat. The heartbreaking story of Joshua Smurphat and the catastrophic event on the Drop Zone Stunt Tower. Discover the accounts of part members, explore possible causes, and unveil the layers of this heart-wrenching incident. Joshua Smurphat from Sunnyvale tragically fell from a drop zone car on Sunday afternoon while it was approximately 50 to 100 feet above the ground. The impact with the concrete below resulted in his immediate fatality. According to authorities, the young individual had been securely fastened into the free fall ride using a steel harness at the start of the ride. It is important to mention that since its inauguration in 1996, there have been no prior significant incidents on this ride. I observed the bar becoming dislodged as the ride initiated its braking to come to a halt, recounted Garrett Winslow of Ben Lomond, who was queued up for the ride when the unfortunate incident involving Joshua occurred. The young boy seemed to be grappling to remain inside the ride, but he was ejected feet first. Subsequently, he somersaulted midair and landed directly on his head. Without hesitation, my sister and I rushed to his location. However, it was evident that he had passed away. His mother came rushing over in a state of distress, repeatedly exclaiming, "Why wasn't the bar properly secured? How did something like this even happen?" Recounted Winslow, a 30-year-old waiter. It was an incredibly unsettling experience. Right then and there, I knelt and offered a prayer. A second individual who witnessed the incident, identified as a family acquaintance who was accompanying Joshua on the ride, recollected that he didn't recall the safety harness being inspected by the ride attendants before its commencement. This family friend, Jay Lingenfelter, aged 35, further mentioned that the accident seemed to transpire when the ride's magnetic braking system engaged, and this occurred when the ride was more than halfway down the tower. When the braking mechanism was initiated, I distinctly heard a noise. He conveyed to the San Francisco Examiner. It resembled a substantial kerchunk, akin to the sound produced when a harness is secured or released during the boarding or disembarking process of a ride. Lingenfelter continued to share that the sound caught his attention as it seemed unusual. He added, "It was quite loud and stood out because it wasn't a typical sound you'd associate with the ride's normal operation." Shortly after that, the incident unfolded. The braking system engaged, and I noticed that the ride's motion was abruptly affected. It was clear that something had gone awry. Spokespersons from the amusement park situated in Santa Clara expressed on a recent day that they were unable to verify the status of the harness being open or closed. However, they emphasized that the operators of the Drop Zone ride maintained that the harness was securely fastened, both at the ride's commencement and its conclusion. A managerial representative mentioned their skepticism regarding the possibility of the safety harness coming undone, irrespective of any observations made by bystanders. Greg Sanders, who holds the position of ride maintenance manager at the park, provided insights into the functionality of the harness. According to him, the harness is controlled electronically and is designed in a manner that permits lifting only after the ride has come to a halt at its base. While the vehicle is in motion, there is no conceivable way for it to be unlocked, he clarified. In response to the incident, Santa Clara law enforcement convened a meeting with both the officials from Great America and the ride's manufacturer, the Switzerland-based company Intamin, AG. The objective of the meeting was to delve into the circumstances surrounding the incident and explore possible explanations. However, following the discussions, no preliminary findings were immediately available from any of the participants. This suggests that further investigation and analysis are required to determine the cause of the tragic event. Investigators are scheduled to conduct interviews with both employees and eyewitnesses to ascertain the possibility of criminal negligence or the involvement of controlled substances or alcohol on the part of the ride operators. Furthermore, a comprehensive examination of the ride's equipment will be carried out to discern any potential malfunction. A significant aspect of the investigation will also involve determining if there were any motives to harm Joshua, particularly considering his mental and physical disabilities. Sergeant Annan Morick of the Santa Clara Police Department conveyed that, while the initial impression points towards an accidental fatality, a thorough and methodical approach is essential. Our initial assessment suggests that this was an unfortunate accident. Morak stated, "However, we are obligated to meticulously explore all angles of the incident, including scrutinizing maintenance records and evaluating the experience of the employees involved. At this juncture, while I cannot definitively rule out the possibility of criminal elements, the prevailing indications indicate that it was indeed an unfortunate accident." Moore mentioned that the comprehensive investigation is anticipated to extend over several weeks to ensure a thorough examination of all aspects. As of now, the authorities have already interviewed over a dozen witnesses, and the police department received reports from approximately 5 to 6 individuals who were willing to share their observations about the incident. Considering the complexity of the case, Morak highlighted the potential consideration of enlisting an independent consultant from outside the police department. This measure aims to gain a fresh perspective on the circumstances that led to the child's fall. It's worth noting that Failure Analysis Associates, an inspection firm contracted by Great America, is also actively involved in investigating the accident, indicating a multi-pronged approach to determining the cause and addressing potential safety concerns. Apart from the amusement park itself, Failure Analysis Associates is the sole entity regularly engaged in ride inspections. However, this status quo might witness a shift due to recent legislative developments. A bill, which still requires approval from the full Senate and the governor, was passed by a state Senate committee. This legislation seeks to establish state oversight and inspection protocols for permanent amusement parks, potentially altering the current inspection landscape. The unfortunate incident involving Joshua marked the second fatal accident at Great America within the last 2 years, and the fourth since the park's inception 23 years ago. The Drop Zone, a towering extreme thrill ride standing at 207 feet, offers an exhilarating experience as it propels riders directly toward the ground along a metal track, achieving speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour. Having been in operation for 3 years, the ride has garnered immense popularity and is considered one of the park's prime attractions. A substantial 1.9 million riders partake in its exhilarating journey on an annual basis. Following the tragic incident involving Joshua, rides resembling the Drop Zone at Paramount's Ohio, North Carolina, and Canada parks were temporarily halted as the California investigation progressed. The Grizzly roller coaster near Great America's Drop Zone was also briefly closed to facilitate the investigative process. However, the majority of rides continued their regular operation, with park spokesperson Timothy Chanot reassuring visitors about the safety protocols in place. This memorial gesture stands as the family's poignant expression amid their profound grief. Well, that's all for today's video. If you found this video informative, please consider liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel for more thought-provoking content. Don't forget to leave your comments and suggestions down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.